He wasn't normal. Normal players train. Kobe Bryant obsessed. There is a difference. Training is scheduled. Obsession is constant. Obsession wakes up before sunrise. Obsession stays after practice ends. Obsession studies film alone. Obsession competes against yesterday's version of you. Most players want to be great. Few are willing to become consumed. He was consumed. That consumption created separation. Separation creates dominance. Dominance creates legacy. He entered the league at 17. Young! Fearless. But fearless is not enough. He shot airballs in the playoffs. National stage. Bright lights. Pressure amplified. Most young players shrink after that. Embarrassment becomes fear. Fear becomes hesitation. Hesitation becomes limitation. He didn't hesitate. He returned to the gym. Failure is not identity. Failure is feedback. Feedback fuels growth. Growth compounds. Compounded growth builds greatness. He understood something early. Confidence is not built through applause. It is built through preparation. If you know you've done more work than anyone else, doubt has nowhere to live. He made the gym his sanctuary. Early mornings, late nights, repetition beyond comfort. Comfort breeds mediocrity. Discomfort builds mastery. He wasn't chasing talent. He was building skill. Talent fades under pressure. Skill sharpens under pressure. Skill built through repetition becomes subconscious. Subconscious execution removes fear. Fear slows release. His release was confident, decisive, even after misses. Because misses did not shake identity. Identity was tied to work. Work cannot be taken from you. He separated himself mentally before he separated physically. Separation begins in belief. He believed he would be the best. Before rings, before validation, before MVPs. Belief preceded proof. Proof followed preparation. Preparation followed obsession. Now understand this. Obsession is lonely. Most people will not match it. Most teammates will not share it. That is fine. Greatness is not a group decision. It is an individual commitment. He did not wait for others to match intensity. He raised his own. Raising your own standard creates internal pressure. Internal pressure prepares you for external pressure. When the crowd roars, it feels familiar because you have created louder expectations for yourself. He studied opponents deeply. Footwork, tendencies, weaknesses. He attacked weaknesses surgically. Surgery requires precision. Precision requires patience. Patience under aggression is mastery. He attacked with purpose. Every move had intention. Every fadeaway rehearsed. Every pivot refined. Repetition removes randomness. Randomness creates inconsistency. He eliminated randomness. He built consistency. Consistency builds inevitability. Inevitability intimidates. Now let's talk about mentality. The Mamba mentality was not trash talk. It was separation from emotion. Emotion can weaken performance. Emotion-controlled fuels it. He trained his mind to stay locked in beyond distraction, beyond fatigue, beyond scoreboard. When others celebrated small wins, he looked forward. Forward focus builds evolution. Evolution builds longevity. He reinvented himself. Early career explosive, mid-career refined, late career cerebral. Adaptation is intelligence applied over time. Intelligence sustains greatness. He never allowed comfort. After championships, he trained harder. After MVPs, he studied more. Because satisfaction kills edge. Edge requires hunger. Hunger must be maintained. He maintained it intentionally. He competed with teammates in practice. He competed with himself in solitude. He competed with standards he created. Standards create identity. Identity builds confidence. Confidence built on discipline cannot crack. He tore his Achilles, walked to the line, shot free throws. That moment was not about toughness. It was about identity. Identity says, I finish what I start, even in pain. Pain is temporary. Legacy is permanent. He valued legacy over comfort. Comfort fades. Legacy remains. Now internalize this. You do not become elite casually. You become elite intentionally. You wake up earlier. You stay later. You study deeper. You sacrifice more. You isolate when necessary. Isolation builds clarity. Clarity builds focus. Focus builds precision. Precision builds dominance. Say this internally now. I embrace obsession. I outwork doubt. I rehearse greatness. I separate from emotion. I attack with purpose. I build skill relentlessly. I raise my own standard. I evolve constantly. Because separation is earned. And obsession creates dominance. Greatness isolates you, not because you hate people, but because your standards are higher than comfort. There came a point in Kobe's career where the noise grew louder. Comparisons, expectations, team dynamics shifting. Championships won, championships lost. Criticism rising. Many players bend under narrative. Narrative is external pressure. External pressure only controls you if internal standards are weak. His were not weak. They were relentless. After Shaq left, the microscope intensified. Could he win alone? Was he just a sidekick? Was he truly the best? Questions attack identity. If identity is fragile, performance cracks. But his identity was built in solitude, in empty gyms. In repetition, no one applauded. So when criticism came, he did not argue. He trained. Training is response without emotion. Emotion wastes energy. Discipline redirects it. He entered what many call his isolation years. Not isolation from teammates. Isolation from distraction, from doubt, from dependency. He wanted ownership. Ownership builds accountability. Accountability builds pressure. Pressure builds evolution. He refined his footwork obsessively. Mid-post mastery. Triple threat precision. Fadeaways rehearsed thousands of times. He wasn't copying Jordan. He was studying excellence. Study creates adaptation. Adaptation creates originality. Originality builds inevitability. He developed counters for every counter. If defenders forced him left, he prepared. If defenders doubled early, he anticipated. If defenders crowded space, he pivoted. Pivoting is mental flexibility. Flexibility sustains dominance. He became patient in attack. Early career explosive. Later career surgical. Surgery wins tight games. Tight games define champions. Now let's talk about kill mode. Kill mode is not anger. It is emotional detachment. Detachment allows precision. When the game slows, he hunted matchups. He studied fear in defenders' eyes. Fear creates space. Space creates opportunity. Opportunity becomes execution. He didn't force hero shots blindly. He chose moments strategically. Strategic aggression overwhelms defense. Defense cannot guard inevitability. When he caught rhythm, the game tilted. Momentum bends towards certainty. Certainty bends outcomes. He didn't celebrate loudly. He stared. Because silence intimidates more than noise. Noise can be matched. Silence creates tension. Tension breaks defenders. He entered championship runs with clarity. One possession at a time. One red at a time. He simplified complexity. Complexity overwhelms under pressure. Simplicity dominates. When Boston challenged him physically, he adjusted mentally. Less ego, more trust. Trusting teammates without losing edge. Edge must be sharp, but controlled. Uncontrolled edge cuts your own team. Controlled edge cuts opponents. He matured. Maturity is emotional discipline. Emotional discipline sustains dynasties. He understood that greatness evolves. You cannot win the same way forever. Adapt or fade. He adapted. He passed when needed. He defended relentlessly. He rebounded fiercely. He led by expectation. Expectation builds culture. Culture builds championships. And when Game 7 arrived, when shots were not falling, when offense was inconsistent, he impacted in other ways. Rebounds, defense, presence. Presence shifts energy. Energy shifts outcomes. He did not panic. He competed. Competition is identity. Identity never leaves you. He was not chasing points. He was chasing legacy. Legacy requires sacrifice. Sacrifice requires vision beyond ego. He saw the long game. The long game requires patience. Patience requires certainty. Certainty builds calm. Calm builds rings. Now internalize this deeper layer. Kill mode is not rage. It is clarity without hesitation. Isolation is not loneliness. It is focus without distraction. Obsession is not madness. It is discipline without compromise. He chose isolation. He chose obsession. He chose kill mode. Not for applause, but for separation. Separation builds dominance. Dominance builds history. Say this internally now. I embrace isolation. I sharpen my focus. I evolve constantly. I attack with precision. I detach from emotion. I hunt moments. I control pressure. I build legacy. Because greatness is not accidental. It is constructed, and construction requires obsession. And obsession creates separation. You do not become legendary by accident. You become legendary by decision. A decision repeated daily. A decision reinforced through discipline. A decision defended through isolation. You do not wait to feel motivated. You move regardless of feeling. Feelings fluctuate. Standards do not. Your standard must be stronger than your mood. Your discipline must be stronger than your doubt. You wake up earlier, not because it is easy, but because it separates you. Separation creates space. Space creates dominance. You do not need applause to work. You do not need validation to train. You do not need recognition to sacrifice. You build when nobody watches. Because when everybody watches, it must look inevitable. Inevitability is built in silence. You rehearse success before it arrives. You see yourself executing. You see yourself closing. You see yourself rising under pressure. Visualization trains the subconscious. The subconscious does not hesitate. Hesitation is doubt. Doubt has been removed. Removed through repetition. Removed through sacrifice. Removed through obsession. You do not fear failure. Failure is information. Information sharpens skill. Skill built through repetition becomes instinct. Instinct under pressure becomes dominance. When the crowd roars, you slow down. When the defense tightens, you focus sharper. When fatigue sets in, you lean deeper into preparation. Preparation overrides fatigue. Fatigue is temporary. Identity is permanent. Your identity is not tied to outcomes. It is tied to effort. Effort cannot be stolen. Effort cannot be debated. Effort compounds. Compounded effort builds confidence. Confidence built on discipline cannot break. You detach from emotion. Emotion clouds judgment. Clarity builds execution. Execution builds legacy. You are not competing against opponents. You are competing against potential. Potential demands more. More focus. More repetition. More sacrifice. Comfort is the enemy. Comfort weakens edge. Edge requires hunger. Hunger must be maintained intentionally. You choose hunger. You choose discipline. You choose isolation when needed. Isolation sharpens vision. Vision builds purpose. Purpose fuels obsession. Obsession creates mastery. Mastery intimidates. Intimidation shifts momentum. Momentum wins championships. You do not shrink in big moments. You expand because pressure is familiar. Pressure has been rehearsed. Pressure has been simulated. Pressure has been embraced. You do not hope to perform. You expect to execute. Expectation changes posture. Expectation changes tone. Expectation changes outcome. You move with certainty. Certainty is silent. Certainty is calm. Certainty is deadly. Say this internally now. I choose discipline over comfort. I choose repetition over excuse. I choose obsession over average. I build skill relentlessly. I separate from distraction. I evolve constantly. I detach from fear. I rise under pressure. I do not hesitate. I do not flinch. I do not surrender. I expect greatness from myself. I rehearse success daily. I demand more from myself than the world ever could, because legacy is not given. It is constructed. Constructed in solitude. Constructed through sacrifice. Constructed through obsession. And when the moment arrives, I do not wonder. I do not wish. I execute. Cold, calm, certain, because my mindset is my edge, and separation is earned.